morning air was crisp and cool, the gentle rustling of wind through skeletal tree branches the only sound as the camp stirred to life. But something was amiss. Aylwin was gone. Her bedroll lay undisturbed, her footprints leading back the way they had come, toward the Tribar Trail. There were no signs of struggle, no indication of why she had left, only the fading indentations of her silent departure. Sariel, ever watchful, took time to examine the tracks, confirming what they all feared. Aylwin had left by choice, moving swiftly and deliberately, vanishing into the wilderness without a word. There was no telling where she had gone, or why. With uncertainty lingering, the group pressed forward, continuing their journey toward the ruins of Conyberry. Once a quiet frontier village, Conyberry had long since fallen into ruin. The ashen skeletons of buildings lined the dirt paths like silent watchers, their broken walls whispering stories of the past. Nature had reclaimed much of the settlement. Roots split stone foundations, ivy wound around shattered beams, and the wilderness had begun creeping through the very bones of the town. At the town's heart stood an old well, its stone rim cracked but sturdy. Tevin, drawn by curiosity, stepped forward, peering into its depths. A faint, ghostly glow shimmered within. Luminescent mushrooms clinging to the damp stone, their eerie light illuminating the water below. The group experimented, lowering the bucket and scraping off a sample. But the moment the mushrooms reached the surface, their glow snuffed out, leaving behind only the dull remnants of something that once thrived in the dark. Seeking more, Tevin descended into the well, lowered carefully by Sariel. At the bottom, his keen eyes caught the glint of an old goblet, its surface inscribed with elegant elven runes. When Sariel examined it, the inscription became clear: "To my best student." With a deepening sense of mystery, the party turned to explore the ruins, searching for anything of importance amidst the decay. The empty husks of homes held little beyond dust and decay, but some buildings held strange remnants of the past. A warning in blood. In one home, scrawled in dark crimson across a crumbling wall, a message was written in Gobblish. None among the group could decipher it, but the ominous presence of such a message left them uneasy. A shattered home. Another building had collapsed from within, its walls splintered outward as if some unseen force had detonated from its center. As they investigated, 3 twig blights emerged from the undergrowth, attacking viciously, but the group quickly dispatched them. A shrine to Tymora. In a small ruined chapel, the party found a prayer book and an old holy symbol of the goddess of luck. A note tucked between the pages read, "When the sun sets thrice without its rise, flee westward. Only luck may save us." A locked home with unseen occupants. As they approached another intact house, they were met with a gruff voice from inside, ordering them to leave. The occupants, whoever they were, refused to open the door, unwilling to trust the travelers. At the graveyard on the town's edge, the group stumbled upon a disturbed grave. Claw marks marred the stone, and a skeletal hand protruded from the dirt, clutching a locket. A trail of faint footprints and disturbed leaves led northward, deeper into the woods, a trail of something recently unearthed. The decision was made. They would follow the path into the trees. The journey through the forest was silent, save for the occasional whisper of the wind. Along the way, they came across a strange hut, its exterior decorated with silver lanterns that flickered and vanished as they drew near. A scrap of fabric caught on a branch hinted at Sister Garael's presence in the area, but the hut itself was empty. Then, in the distance, a sight both wondrous and unnatural, the towering form of a dead oak tree, twisted and hollow. As they approached, strange visions danced before their eyes, ornate curtains, silver lanterns, and flashes of a grand estate, impossibly luxurious. They had found Agatha's domain. Within the hollow of the tree, the ghostly presence of Agatha manifested, a spectral elven woman, her form shifting between beauty and sorrow, between reality and illusion. She regarded the group with suspicion, but when Sariel recognized her as the elven mage from his Selûnite vision, everything changed. The weight of recognition softened Agatha's demeanor. She no longer saw them as intruders, but as pawns of fate, drawn into the echoes of her tragic past. When Tevin inquired about Bogenthal's book, Agatha refused to part with it. But when Sariel presented her with the goblet, something stirred within her. A memory resurfaced, long buried beneath centuries of undeath. She reached out with trembling hands, cradling the goblet as if it were a long-lost treasure, her expression unreadable. Then, with no warning, she turned and hurled it violently against the stone wall, the sound of shattering metal ringing through the chamber. A shriek tore from her throat, a sound of agony, rage, and something far deeper, something unknowable. For a moment, the illusion of her grandeur wavered, and the weight of her curse was laid bare. The moment passed as quickly as it came, her expression smoothing into eerie calm. She beckoned them deeper into her domain. But none could pass beyond her chamber. Some unseen force barred their way. Agatha's expression darkened, frustration creasing her ghostly features. Realizing they needed more, the group retraced their steps to the graveyard, retrieving the locket from the skeletal hand before returning to Agatha's hollow. This time, when Tavin presented it to her, she did not take it. Instead, she reached out her cold, translucent hand and whispered, "Take my hand and see." Hesitantly, Tavin grasped her hand, the locket clutched in his other. In an instant, reality shifted. Tavin found himself somewhere else. A grand, ethereal mansion stretched out before him, opulent and untouched by time. Glistening chandeliers bathed the halls in silver light, ornate rugs lined the pristine marble floors, and a sense of peace, yet deep sorrow, hung in the air. This was Agatha's home. She led him through winding corridors, past illusions of elven nobility long forgotten, until they reached a locked study. With a flick of her wrist, the doors creaked open, revealing a table upon which rested an ancient tome, Bogentle's spellbook. With reverence, Agatha lifted the book and handed it to Tavin. "Now return." He reached for Sariel's hand, and in the blink of an eye he was back in the ruined oak, the book still in his grasp. For a moment, Agatha simply stared at the group, as if she had revealed too much, as if they had ventured too deep into her world. Then, suddenly, she withdrew, her form flickering and becoming distant. "Leave!" The warmth that had entered her voice earlier was gone. The group, sensing her sudden shift, chose not to push further. They left the hollow behind and returned to Conyberry, setting up camp within the shrine to Timora, where they spent the night under the watchful silence of the ruins. Aelwyn's disappearance remained a mystery. The knowledge they had gained opened new questions, and though they had gained Bogentle's book, it was clear Agatha's story was far from over. And beyond Conyberry, the necromancer still awaited.